Day 10, and we are getting closer to the end. We have most of the pavers in, or the workers do. As you can see, there's the dimension pavers by Bellstone, or Belgard, and they're coming all the way through here. Still working around the steps. They did get the steps done yesterday, so there's some pavers in the middle right here that have the same design. So that's nice, but they're getting their way around. They brought the soldier course, or the picture frame course, that's going to go around the outside. There was a color they had, I think that was over here, but they said that's not a good enough contrast, so they brought these two. There's a bigger one because they're bigger pavers, or the smaller one. But we decided on the smaller one. I think they'll be like this all the way around. So we'll have a nice dark black border all the way around the backyard here. The hot tub still plans to go right here. We actually heard that it was being delivered to the town today, and then they're gonna come next week and look at it, decide how to get it back here. But we thought it might be August, but it looks like we're not gonna have to wait too long for that, but this has to get done first, and we're not in a hurry to get that. So it's the middle of summer, it's 100 degrees. But this kind of finishes here, but it looks like they're going to maybe add a little bit more right here, which I think will be nice, and it makes it less of a hallway right here. So we haven't talked to them about that, and I think that's just what they're planning on doing, which that's great if they do. At least that's what I'm assuming, because they painted out a little bit. The owner was here yesterday. We talked to him. He was cool. It was nice to have the owner come by, just because I feel like when you do expensive jobs, at least come by once and be like, all right, it's going well. You know, I know they talk, and then the guy head of the crew has been here a little bit more recently, because now they're getting to some of the final touches, and then he can be like, oh, let's do this, this, and this. So we're really pleased with how it's coming. But as you can see, the pavers, these are dimension, I don't remember, Palico color. They have some red and brown and gray, and then we got that because of the red dirt, so it always will look kind of dirty. There's a little bunch of white spots on here, and that's from when they were stacked together. There's not many here, and there's a bunch right here, and there's not many here. So they were getting stacked, and then they had a bunch, and so we did call, and we're like, hey, we talked to the guys, we actually didn't call, and we're like, hey, there's a bunch of white spots. And they're like, yeah, I think they'll come out. And then we noticed later that the head guy had come out, so I think they had talked to him just to make sure. But, you know, I didn't pay a lot of money for it. They might come out. And they're not really necessarily scratched, but the bottom of the second paver, when they're on top like that, just seemed to leave a little mark. I assume it'll come off just because that's usually what happens when rocks rub together. They leave a little white residue or concrete, so I'm not terribly worried. I was a little bit, to be honest, at first, but they seem to have calmed my fears. As long as it'll come out, because these are not expensive. Nothing about this project is cheap, and they've done such a good job and set such a high standard that I don't want all these white dots. But hopefully that's not something we have to worry about. But there we are, getting towards the end. We got the plants in. They're going to be trees here, bushes here, I think just mulch. So actually, if that becomes pavers, we'll have just a smaller mulch area, which I like, because it's kind of big right now, in my opinion. So I really hope they do that, and they'll just do it on their own. And that's it. So we'll see you on the next day.